Bonjour, my friends. So, you wait to hear of D'Artagnan's adventures with the three Musketeers. Well, there have been many, and from some I was not certain I would emerge alive. But perhaps you would like to know how I came to meet Athos, Porthos, and Aramis, and like them became a musketeer of King Louis XIII of France. It was on the first Monday of April in the year 1625 that I set out for Paris astride a gift from my father, a pony some 14 years of age. Unfortunately, he had no hair on his tail, and his coat was a yellow color, which, by the way, was the cause of my first duel. When I paused to rest at an inn, a gentleman with a scar on his cheek angered me when he laughed at my pony. So I challenged him to a duel. But I am afraid I was not yet skilled as a swordsman. When I awoke in my room at the inn, there was a cut on my forehead, and the gentleman with the scar was gone. And with him, the letter of introduction which my father had given to me for Monsieur de Tréville, captain of the Musketeers. When I arrived in Paris and explained to Monsieur de Tréville what had happened at the inn, he seemed to know the man with the scar, and warned me never again to engage him in a duel. He also informed me that I must serve an apprenticeship in a lesser company of guards before I would be allowed to enter the ranks of the Musketeers. As I left his chambers, I spied the gentleman with the scar going through the door leading to the street. In spite of Monsieur de Tréville's warning, I hurried after the man who had stolen my letter, hoping to catch him and demand its return. A musketeer in a full cape stood at the foot of the steps. As I attempted to pass him, a sudden gust of wind blew out the cape, and I found myself wrapped up in it.
And what wild creature have I trapped that struggles so? A rabbit? A deer? Perhaps a ferocious pig, eh?
I beg of you, monsieur, let me go.
In a moment, my young gentleman who wriggles like an eel. Do you make it a habit to bump into people like this?
I am sorry, but I was running after someone and I...
And do you not look when you run?
Yes, I look when I run, and I see what others do not see.
Your tongue is sharp, my young friend.
You will feel the sharpness of my rapier as well as my tongue if you do not let me pass.
You would challenge a musketeer?
If that is your pleasure. But at the moment, I am otherwise occupied.
Come back! Come back and defend yourself!
Later, when my mission is completed.
At 1 o'clock, then. Convent of the Carmelites.
At 1 o'clock. Leaving the angry musketeer behind me, I rushed down the street. But this was not a day of luck for me. Not only had the mysterious stranger disappeared, but I had also bumped into 2 other musketeers and challenged them to a duel also. For me, there was but one consolation. If I was to be killed, it would be by a musketeer. So it was that at the hour of 1, I waited on the uncultivated patch of ground which surrounded the convent of the Carmelites. Before the clock had finished its chiming, I saw 3 figures approaching, the 3 musketeers whom I had angered.
Ah, monsieur, I see you're on time to die.
For whatever reason, monsieur, I am always on time.
You've brought no seconds?
Having arrived but yesterday in Paris, I know no one.
You wish to withdraw, then?
D'Artagnan never withdraws.
D'Artagnan, is it? Permit me. I am Porthos.
Monsieur?
Aramis.
Monsieur Aramis? Monsieur. And now that we are properly introduced, let me offer my apologies.
Apologies?
Do not misunderstand, gentlemen. I apologize only because I shall not be able to pay my debt to all 3 of you. If I first duel with you, Monsieur Porthos, you will undoubtedly kill me, and the challenge of Monsieur Athos and Aramis will go unanswered. So, gentlemen, I repeat, forgive me, but for that only. Now, en garde, Monsieur Porthos.
The sun is quite hot. You will permit me to remove my cape?
As you wish.
You wish to remove your doublet?
No, monsieur.
Eh bien. En garde. Your rapier does well in your hand.
I was taught by my father.
An excellent teacher. One moment, D'Artagnan.
Why do you lower your rapier?
Look, they're coming this way. The guards of Cardinal Richelieu. They come to arrest us for dueling. Sheathe your sword and go while there's yet time. We 3 will remain to fight them.
A contradiction, Monsieur Porthos. 4 will remain.
But you're not one of us.
That is true, but though I have not the uniform, I have the spirit. I am a musketeer at heart.
You're a brave lad, D'Artagnan. So be it. Athos, Aramis, draw your swords. All for one, and one for all.
All for one, and one for all. So we stood back to back, the three Musketeers and I, and crossed our swords with those of Richelieu's guards. I perhaps was as skillful as the others, but my father had taught me well, and the fighting was for one of the three who had been wounded. So began my apprenticeship in the Musketeers, and my friendship with Athos, Porthos, and Aramis. It was not long after this encounter with Richelieu's guards that we four were involved in the affair of the Queen's diamonds. Although Louis XIII ruled France with his queen, it was Cardinal Richelieu who scorned the king's weakness and plotted to turn him against Queen Anne because of her ties with England and her homeland, Austria. Richelieu's spies were everywhere, and everyone was watched. One who was especially watched was Constance Bonacieux, the wife of my landlord, whose room was below mine. Because of a loose board in the floor, it was possible for me to hear any conversation in the room below. One day I heard Madame Constance cry for help when two of Richelieu's agents broke into the Bonacieux room and attempted to seize her. I dashed to the Bonacieux's room, and when I had driven out the intruders, I begged her to tell me what information they sought from her. She refused, saying it would be too dangerous for me to know. I was not to learn for some time the secret which she feared to tell me, or of the plot between Richelieu and his agent, Monsieur de Rochefort, who, I discovered, was a mysterious stranger with a scarred face who had stolen my letter to Monsieur de Treville. Not long after I had come to the aid of Madame Constance, I was later to learn that Rochefort and Richelieu met in the Cardinal's chambers, and their plot was conceived.
It is true, Eminence. The Queen and the English Duke of Buckingham have been meeting in secret.
You learned this from Madame Bonacieux?
No. Unfortunately, my men were set upon by the young Gascon, D'Artagnan, before she could be made to speak. But Madame de Lannoy, one of the Queen's ladies, who was entirely at the service of your Eminence, came to me with a report of what she had seen.
Go on.
Last evening, as she emerged from the Louvre, she heard the whinnying of a horse at a side entrance. Curious, she investigated, keeping discreetly in the shadows. Two figures were shielded by a carriage, but she recognized their voices.
The Queen and Buckingham?
Yes. Madame de Lannoy heard the Duke tell Her Majesty that he had reached the Louvre, a previously arranged meeting place, without being seen. He had come to get information from Her Majesty regarding her plans to have your Eminence removed from office.
To have me... Go on, de Rochefort.
Madame de Lannoy then heard Her Majesty tell the Duke that she was writing a letter to the King of Spain regarding the plan. When word had been brought to her that he, the Duke, waited for her in the Louvre.
Was that all that passed between them?
No. Her Majesty urged the Duke to leave France and to return to London before he was discovered. Then Madame de Lannoy saw the Queen take a small rosewood casket from beneath her cape and give it to the Duke as a gift of gratitude for his friendship and the dangers he had risked on her behalf.
Did Madame de Lannoy know what was in the cask?
The 12 diamond clips which the King gave to the Queen on her recent birthday.
The King's diamonds.
Oh, there was one more thing.
More?
As the Duke accepted the diamonds from Her Majesty, he promised to wear them to the first ball he would attend on his return to London.
Excellent, excellent. I shall dispatch a letter to my agent, Milady de Winter, in London without delay, so that it may reach there before Buckingham arrives. I shall write... Yes, I have it. Milady, be present at the first ball to which the Duke of Buckingham goes. He will wear 12 diamond clips in his doublet. Manage to secure 2 of them. As soon as they are in your possession, send word to me. So much for Buckingham. Now I shall have word reach the king that correspondence has passed between the Queen and Buckingham plotting the king's overthrow.
Such correspondence exists.
Look not so shocked, de Rochefort. It is part of my plan to make Louis suspect the Queen of treason, and then to convince him he should apologize to her when he learns his suspicions were false.
I do not understand.
Majesty at Rochefort. You will. You wish to speak with me, Majesty?
Yes, Richelieu. Word was recently brought to me that there'd been a secret correspondence between Her Majesty and Lord Buckingham. When the Chancellor inquired of Her Majesty if such correspondence did exist, he returned with a letter.
From Lord Buckingham?
No. It was a letter to the King of Spain containing a plan of attack which would result in your dismissal.
Oh, you see to what lengths my enemies would go, Majesty. They would undoubtedly declare war unless I were relieved of my office. Before I would see war come to France, I would retire as cardinal. I grow old and my work at court is finished.
No, you shall not retire. No. All who were mentioned in the letter will be punished, even the Queen.
Oh, you would punish Her Majesty? I would not have it on my conscience that she should suffer because of me. Since the letter was intercepted and no harm has been done, may I suggest, if you were to make a gesture to show Her Majesty that your suspicions were ill-founded.
What sort of a gesture?
You might do something which would please her. A ball. You know her love of dancing, and it would give her an opportunity to wear the diamonds which you gave her for her birthday, and which she has not yet had the opportunity to wear.
An excellent idea, Richelieu. Excellent. When would you suggest the ball be given?
2 weeks' time should be sufficient to take care of everything.
When the ball was announced, I learned of Richelieu's plot. Madame Constance told me everything.
Someone must go to London with all haste, Monsieur d'Artagnan. Before 14 days have passed, the casket of 12 diamonds must be returned to Paris. If Her Majesty does not wear them to the ball, all will be lost.
Why have you come to me? Surely your husband.
I have discovered he is loyal to the Cardinal. You are the only one who can do this.
I cannot accomplish this mission alone, for the agents of the Cardinal will undoubtedly attempt to stop anyone who leaves France. But I will ask my friends Athos, Porthos, and Aramis. They share my loyalty to the Queen.
God go with you.